for the best music.
Show me capital business, show me character dickiness,
Season sport presentation.
Round 10 begins. If they complete this round.
Balanced and objective news reportage. And all-round entertainment. Listen to the jewel of the pack of radios in this class. Tune in to Radio Afinju right here in Oshobo, Osun State.
Ẹ bá mi pè é o. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Rédíò Àfínjú. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ Àfínjú. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ Àfínjú. Lórí WhatsApp Àfínjú. Instagram Àfínjú. Facebook Àfínjú. Lórí X Àfínjú. Lórí YouTube Àfínjú. Lórí TikTok Àfínjú. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfínjú. Ẹ bá mi pè é o. Àfínjú. Rédíò Àfínjú. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ 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 Àfínjú. Rédíò Àfínjú. Rédíò Àfínjú. Rédíò Àfínjú.
What's up, Ninja? Did you miss any entertainment gist or music updates over the week? And if yes, then Catch Up is what you need to stay informed. Catch Up is loaded with 3 mind-blowing segments. Are you fascinated with the gbas on social media? Let's talk about it on what trended over the week. Music lovers, it's time to get your playlist updated with our top 10 songs. Then, brace yourself to explore the world as we take you places. There is no other way to get you updated than Catch Up. Join Spicy Honey Drops and your radio gem on Catch Up every Saturday, 4 to 5 p.m. on Radio Afinju for a moment of fun. Don't worry, Catch Up got you covered.
Hey there, Super Kids! Are you ready for a ride of fun and learning? Get ready to blast off on Kiddies Arena with Aunty Pearl and crew on Radio Afinju every Saturday at 10 to 11 a.m. Listen to stories that will tickle your bones, games that will blow your mind, and music that will make you dance like no one's watching. There's also lots of surprises and gifts to be won. So gather your friends, turn up the volume, let's have fun and make awesome memories together on Kids Arena with Aunty Pearl and crew. Only on Radio Afinju. Yeah! Good morning, Ẹ káàárọ̀, ụtụtụ ọma. Inakwana. Oh, I almost forgot that part. How are you doing this morning? I hope you're having a fantastic weekend so far. This is Kiddies Arena with Aunty Pearl and crew, and I'm your host for today, Aunty Pearl, of course. And I'm alone this morning, unfortunately, due to the curfew. The ladies are not able to make it here on the show today, but not to worry, because it is always going to be fun here on Kiddies Arena. Don't worry, I'm bringing you everything, and I mean everything that happens here on the show. So you're not going to miss out on anything. Kiddies Arena is a show for everybody, children and adults alike. So call the children, everybody. Thank God today is sit at home. Today is curfew, so you're not really going anywhere. So it is time to get your mobile phones, your tablets, whatever it is, connect to Kiddies Arena right now. We are streaming on Facebook on Radio Afinju. We're also on all social media platforms at Radio Afinju. I'm talking X, talking YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on every single one of our shows. It's good to have you here this morning, and I hope you've had a fantastic week so far. For me, this week has been a little bit, I would say, busy. I mean, my weeks are always busy, but this week has been quite exceptional. But I'm always glad, always excited to be back here on Kiddies Arena because I am a child. It is here on the show I'm allowed to be a child, right? I'm allowed to be myself, be a kid once again, and I'm sure you watching me right now, sometimes it's fun to be a child because when you're a child you are free from worry. Children literally don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to work, your parents provide for you. The only thing you may just have to do is maybe go to school and study and then eat. That's literally what you have to do as a child. So when I come on Kiddies Arena, I always feel like a child once again. So Kiddies Arena, what's the show all about? What do we do here on Kiddies Arena? It's a show. We have 3 major segments on the show, or should I say 4, because sometimes if time permits us we play game as well. So the first segment on the show is the storytelling segment here on the show. It's usually this first segment is usually taken by Faladara Ewalua, but she's not here today. So usually in the storytelling segment we tell stories filled with moral lessons, stories that make you imagine things. We build objects and images from the figments of your imagination. It helps you to be creative, and we'll also learn from these stories. We have moral lessons to pick out from each and every one of the stories that we tell on the show. And on the second segment, which is our basic grammar segment, we teach you grammar. Will help you to improve on your knowledge of the English language, right? Building your vocabulary, your speech, how you communicate, to basically improve the way you communicate with the people around you. And also we do current affairs on the show as well, helping you to understand the world and your country in general better in our current affairs segment, and also to help you to know some key major events in the world or in our country that has taken place in the past, some key events that have taken place in the country. So that's for current affairs. We also do word of the day, where we learn new words to add to your vocabulary. New words to add to your vocabulary so that you don't keep using the same word over and over again. And that's for basic grammar and current affairs segments. And then in the third segment, which is my segment, the basic grammar and current affairs segment is by Sophia Abidemi Hassan. Sophia takes that segment. And then in the third segment, which is safety and well-being segment, here I teach a wide range of topics. I'm talking about physical well-being, social health, etiquette, just the basic social skills that you need to know so that you can be safe at all time. So that's for the third segment. So, and if time permits, we play games on the show, but of course I can't play all by myself, so it's unfortunate, but I may not be playing game today. But guess what, we're going to have our riddle as usual, because every week we throw riddles to you, our lovely audience, so that you get a chance to win data gifts courtesy of our sponsor Veracious Pay app. And that goes without saying that Kiddies Arena with Aunty Pearl and crew is open for sponsorship. So if you have kid-friendly goods and services that you want to advertise here on Radio Afinju, just reach out to the phone number displaying on your screen right now, and our marketing team will reach out to you. So thank you so much for joining this morning. I'll do a little recap of what we did last week, so that's just to freshen up your memory, just to juggle your memory, right? So last week in the storytelling segment, Ewa told the story of the emperor's new clothes. So it was basically a story about an emperor who was vain. Do you know what it means to be vain? To be vain means to be proud, to take pleasure in materialistic things. Oh, you love all the flashy things of life, new clothes, new bags, that kind of person. So the emperor was vain, and he always walked around with new clothes. He liked to go around to the town, showing off the new things he has gotten for himself. And so 2 swindlers came into town. two swindlers came into town. They wanted to teach the emperor a lesson. So you know what they did? They told the emperor they can make him a very beautiful coat. They told him they can make him a very beautiful coat. And because the emperor was somebody who loved flashy things, right? So he was like, okay, make me this beautiful clothes. Tell me this, tell me that. And so they were doing it. But the thing is, they weren't actually making him the clothes. No, they were building. They were told him they were building. They were weaving the clothes, but they weren't actually weaving anything. But each time the emperor comes to check on them, he will say, "Oh wow, where is the cloth?" They'll tell you, "Look at the cloth." Meanwhile, they are showing him something invisible. The cloth was not visible, but because the emperor he didn't want to look stupid. He didn't want to look like he didn't know what he was doing. He would come, and when they would show him the invisible cloak, he would say, "Oh wow, beautiful. This is nice. This is lovely." Anyway, at the end of the day, the emperor found out they were tricking. He has been tricked. And he was being swindled. And how did he find out? Because when they gave him the clothes to wear, of course he was not wearing anything. He was walking around town, and people were like, "Oh, this emperor is not wearing any clothes." And that was how he knew that he had been tricked. And the moral lesson we picked from that story was that know how to ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking when you don't know. If the emperor had asked that, "Where is the clothes you're showing me? Where is the clothes you're putting on my body?" he would have known even before he stepped out. But because he was a proud person and he didn't want to look stupid in front of others, he refused to ask questions. And that was the story from last week as well. We also talked about World Radio Day. It's a celebration about the invention of the radio. Every year World Radio Day is marked on the 13th of February, celebrating the innovation of the radio, how radio has become a tool for information, entertainment, especially to remote areas, places without the internet, places without electricity. The radio has really evolved over time, and it was important that we recognize its contribution to the world. So, and I also talked in my segment, a little bit about bullying, because it was just a 30-minute program because we had other things scheduled for that last week. So we didn't do the full 1 hour. So that's basically what we did last week. Today, however, I have another beautiful story for you. This story was contributed by Ewa as well. I mean, even though she's not here, she is with you in spirit, but I will be the one reading the stories out to you. And also there is also the basic grammar and current affairs segment per usual. So once I come back from this break, Kiddies Arena is still on, so grab your seats because it is storytelling time. Don't go anywhere. I'm still Aunty Pearl on Kiddies Arena on Radio Afinju. Welcome back. It's still Kiddies Arena with Aunty Pearl and crew, even though the crew is not here, but Aunty Pearl is here. All right, so before I went on that break, I said it is storytelling time. And get what story I'm telling today? I'm telling the story of the blind man and the elephant. The blind man and the elephant. I really, really love this story because there's a lot to pick from today's story. There's always a lot to pick from every single one of our stories, but today's one is exceptional. I really, really love it. So, and you are going to love it as well because, again, like I said, there's a lot to pick up. There's a lot to pick out of it. So listen carefully so you don't miss out on the interesting parts. So today's story, the blind man and the elephant. The blind man and the elephant. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived 6 blind men. They were known throughout the village for their exceptional hearing and sense of touch. Now, I quickly want to point out that for blind people, they have an exceptional they have a more evolved senses. What they lack in sight, they make up for in other areas. So other areas or other senses that they have are usually heightened. So in the case of these blind men, they have exceptional hearing and sense of touch. So they pick out voices or sounds that naturally people who can see may not be able to pick up, but because they don't have the eyes to see that thing, they pick it up easily, and also sense of touch. So I just wanted to point that out. The story continues. One day, they heard that a magnificent elephant has been brought to the village. The villagers were talking about the elephant's enormous size, its beautiful tusks, and its gentle nature. The 6 blind men were curious and wanted to learn more about the elephant. They decided to visit the elephant and explore it by touching it with their hands. The first blind man approached the elephant and touched its side. "Ha," he said, "the elephant is like a wall. It's big and flat." The second blind man touched the elephant's tusk. No, he said. "The elephant is like a spear. It's sharp and pointed." The third blind man touched the elephant's trunk. "You're both wrong," he said. "The elephant is like a snake. It's long and curved." The fourth blind man touched the elephant's knee. "I don't agree with any of you," he said. "The elephant is like a tree. It's sturdy and strong." The fifth blind man touched the elephant's ear. "You are all mistaken," he said. "The elephant is like a fan. It's flat and wide." The sixth blind man touched the elephant's tail. "I think you're all wrong," he said. "The elephant is like a rope. It's long and thin." The 6 blind men stood there, arguing with each other, each one convinced that their own perception of the elephant was correct. They didn't realize that each of them had touched a different part of the elephant's body, and that their individual perceptions were incomplete and limited. Okay, as they continued to argue, a wise old man approached them. "My dear friends," he said, "you are all correct and you are all wrong. The elephant is indeed like a wall, a spear, a snake, a tree, a fan, and a rope. But it is also more than that. It is a magnificent creature with a unique shape, size, and texture. You have each touched a part of the elephant, but you have not seen the whole." The 6 blind men realized that the wise old man was correct. They had each gained a limited understanding of the elephant, but they had not gained a complete understanding. They learned that it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and to seek out additional information before forming a complete picture of something. From that day on, the 6 blind men traveled together, exploring the world and seeking out new experiences. They learned to appreciate the unique perspectives and insights that each of them brought to the table, and they gained a deeper understanding of the world around them. What's the moral of the story? I'm sure even before I say the moral of the story, you can already guess what it is. Can you? Can you guess the moral of today's story? If you can guess the moral of today's story, just let me know in the comment section. Okay, so the moral of the story is there are many perspectives and truths to a story. Be open-minded. Consider multiple viewpoints and seek out additional information before forming a complete picture of something. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. I love this story so much. I love the story because it reflects a lot of things happening even in our society today. You know, people form opinions about certain things without even having the full experience, without hearing the complete story. You already, maybe from your bias, or maybe due to your familiarity, or maybe especially when it has to do with people that you know, because this person is your brother, your sister, and when they tell you something, you believe them even without wanting to find out what the true story is. Just like the 6 blind men in this story, they've touched different parts of the elephant. Remember, the elephant is a very big animal. It's a big animal, so they touch, and remember again, they can't see, right? So their judgment is limited to what they could feel and what they could touch. So this one touched the ear, this one touched the tusk, the trunk, the tail, different parts of the elephant, and then they were forming opinions based on the parts that they could touch, not knowing that all these parts actually makes up parts of the elephant and not even the full body, because I'm sure you've seen an elephant before. You can tell that there is more to an elephant than its tail, its ear. The elephant is a big animal. So they were arguing, they were forming opinions. Mine is correct because I touched the knee. Mine is correct. The elephant is like this because I touched this, forgetting that the elephant has so many parts. Just like when we talk about certain issues, when we argue with people, when we judge things without knowing the full story or knowing the background of such issues, we just make judgments, we make conclusions. So it is necessary that you don't form truths out of one part of a story or be open-minded. Learn to always be open to considering multiple viewpoints. Always be open to hearing what others have to say. I mean, eventually you may be right. Eventually it may all boil down to what you've said. But be open-minded. Don't be I don't know if I should say conservative, but don't be like too close-minded. Don't say, it has to be my way or no way. If it is not my way, then it can be no other way. No, don't do that. Always consider other perspectives before drawing your conclusion. That's 2 things we've learned today now on this story. We've learned to always not form truths out of one part of a story or out of one perspective. Always be open to learning other things. I've also learned that for blind people, they always have heightened sense in other parts. It can be touch, it can be hearing, it can be sensing what they lack in sight, they make out for in other areas of their lives, and they can live a whole life, a complete life, despite their lack of sight. So thank you, Ewa, for that beautiful story. Again, I love it and I've learned so much from it. Now it is time for grammar. It's time for grammar, and today we are learning direct and indirect speech. Direct and indirect speech. When we talk about direct and indirect speech, we're talking about the different ways that we can report a speech, the different ways we can report something someone has said. So, for direct speech is when we repeat the exact words spoken by someone. When we are quoting somebody verbatim, we're talking direct speech. When you use quotation mark, you're saying it exactly the way the person has said it. And this way, the sentence retains its original meaning. It has not been distorted. It has not been changed. It retains the same meaning, the same tone, the emotion as at when it was first spoken. It retains its original meaning, not diverted by anything, because you're quoting the person exactly the way they have said it. For example, Lisa said, "I love reading books." Lisa said, "I love reading books." So you're reporting what Lisa said, and you're reporting it exactly the way Lisa had said it, because Lisa said, "I love reading books." So if Aunty Pearl wants to report, if me now as Aunty Pearl, I want to report what Lisa said, I will say, Lisa said, in quotes, "I love reading books." So that is the exact thing Lisa said. I didn't add anything, no article, no additional tenses, nothing. I said it the exact way Lisa had said it. That's a direct speech. And also another example, Tom asked, "Where are you going?" Tom asked, in quotes, "Where are you going?" So I am reporting what Tom asked. I didn't change it. I didn't add anything. I'm saying it the exact way Tom said it. So that's for direct speeches. For indirect speech is when we report what someone said without using quotation marks. Instead, we change the words slightly to fit into a sentence. Now, when we are changing direct speech into indirect speech, we often change the pronouns, the verb tenses, and even the time expressions, right? Now, the meaning might be the same, but we've changed certain things in it. We've changed the pronouns, we've changed the verb tenses, but the meaning being communicated is still the same. Let me give you a quick example. The same example that we used in the first one. In the direct speech, Lisa said, "I love reading books." But in the indirect speech, I would say Lisa said that she loved reading books. Lisa said that she loved reading books. It is the same thing, right? It is the same meaning that we're trying to convey, because Lisa had said she loved reading books. And because I am reporting what Lisa said, as an indirect speech, I'm saying Lisa said that she loved reading books. It didn't change what Lisa has said, but the tenses has changed. The pronoun a lot of things have changed, right? So another example from the second example that we used, where I said, Tom asked, "Where are you going?" Tom asked, "Where are you going?" Now, I want to report it as an indirect speech. I'm going to say, Tom asked where I was going. Tom asked where I was going. It is the same message, but conveyed in a different way. I hope that is clear and straightforward. So, changes in verb tense. When you're changing from direct to indirect speech, we often move the verb one step back in time. This is called back shifting. Now, if the original speech is about a general truth, we don't always change the tense. If the original speech is a general truth, we don't always change the tense. But if it is not, we move the verb one step back in time. Now let's give an example. In a direct speech, now I'm saying a direct speech. The teacher said the sun rises in the east. The teacher said the sun rises in the east. Now this is a general truth because the sun does rise in the east. So the indirect speech, of course, will be the teacher said that the sun rises in the east. So there has not been any change in the tenses because it is a general truth. The sun rises in the east. It's a general truth. So there was no need for me to change anything in the sentence. So next is reporting questions in indirect speeches. When you want to report a question, when changing a question from direct to indirect speech, we are going to remove the question format and change it to a statement. You remove the question and change it into a statement. For yes or no question, direct speech is, he asked, "Are you coming?" Question mark. Are you coming? With a question mark. But for indirect speech, it's going to be, she asked if I was coming. She asked if I was coming. No question mark. Do you get it? For direct speech, are you coming? There's a question mark. That's a direct question. But for indirect speech, he asked if I was coming. That's a statement. It's not a question. There's no need putting a question mark behind that. Another example, she asked, "Where do you live?" Where do you live? She asked, where do you live? That's a question. It has a question mark. Now, if I want to report that as an indirect speech, it's going to be what? Can I hear you? She asked where I lived. So it is the same meaning, but a different statement. This time around, it has been changed to a statement and not a question. Next, we have reporting commands and requests. Reporting commands and requests. When reporting commands and requests, we use verbs like told, ordered, asked, requested, followed by a verb. When reporting commands and requests, we use verbs like told, ordered, asked, requested, followed by a verb. For example, in a direct speech, we'll say, the teacher said, close your books. The teacher said, close your books. In indirect speech, we'll say, the teacher told us to close our books. The teacher told us. Remember, I said we use verbs in past tense. So the teacher told us to close our books. Another example, Mom said, please help me. Mom said, please help me. That's for direct speech. And in indirect speech, it's going to be what? Mom asked me to help her. Mom asked me to help her. Remember, we've used the verb asked, but in past tense. Asked. Mom asked me to help her. For negative commands, we use not plus to plus verb. So we use not, then we add to, then we add the verb. For direct speech, example, the doctor said, don't eat too much sugar. Don't eat too much sugar. That's a direct speech from the doctor. Now, if I want to report this direct speech, if I want to report it as an indirect speech, I'm going to say what? The doctor told me not to eat sugar, or not to eat too much sugar. Remember the not, the to, and the verb. So we have the not plus the to, and then we have the what? The verb, which is eat. So for direct speech, the doctor said, don't eat too much sugar. And then in direct speech, the doctor told me not to eat too much sugar. Right? I hope that's clear. I hope you understand that. And if you don't, you can always there are a lot of resources online where you can learn more. I would not want to spend so much time because of time. So in conclusion, direct speeches repeat the exact words spoken using quotation marks. So when you want to report a direct speech, you're using quotation mark to show that this is exact way this person said it. You're saying it verbatim. You're saying it the way the person said it without changing anything in the sentence and the tenses. The exact way. You're not even adding as simple as an A. You're saying it the exact way, and then you use quotation marks. While indirect speech reports what was said without quotation marks. And it often changes either the pronouns, the verb tense, or the time of the words. But the meaning of the sentence, or the meaning, the message conveyed in that sentence is the same. The tenses may change, but the message is the same. So that's for indirect speech. And then questions in indirect speech do not use question marks, and they are changed into statement. As you can see in the examples I gave, questions in indirect speech. Where are you going? That's a direct speech. Then when you want to report it, he asked where I was going. He asked where I was going. So now it is no longer a question. You're reporting it as an indirect speech. And then commands and requests use to and verb in indirect speech. Commands and requests use to and verb in indirect speech. And that is where we are ending our basic grammar today, right? I hope you have learned something new, because I have. Today's lesson is courtesy of Sophia. Thank you again, Sophia. When I come back, I said we I forgot I'm alone on the show. Okay, so when I come back from this break, I'm going into current affairs. And guess what we're learning this morning? Don't worry, you can't guess it because it's a surprise. All right, so when I come back from this break, we're going to learn something new under the current affairs segment on Kiddies Arena this morning. Don't go anywhere. It's still Aunty Pearl on Kiddies Arena on Radio Afinju, the radio station with an impeccable dimension to broadcasting. I will be right back. Welcome back. It's still Kiddies Arena with Aunty Pearl here on Radio Afinju. Remember, that is my reminder to you to go brush your teeth. If you're listening to me right now and you've not brushed your teeth, bad boy, bad girl, go and brush your teeth. It's almost 11 a.m. Why have you not brushed? Why have you not had your bath? Go and brush. Okay, it's time for current affairs, and today we are learning the history of local government in Nigeria. The history of local government in Nigeria. We've had, federal government, state government, local government. How did the local government come to be? That's what we're learning today. And it's quite a coincidence because today is also the local government elections here in Osun State. So yes, a little history on that. The local government is the third level of government in Nigeria after the federal and state governments. It is the closest form of government to the people and is responsible for providing basic services like roads, schools, and healthcare in towns and villages. The history of local government in Nigeria has gone through many changes, especially in the number of local government areas and how they are managed. Before Nigeria gained independence in 1960, the British controlled the country and used a system called indirect rule to govern at the local level. This meant that traditional rulers like kings and chiefs were given the power to govern their local areas under British supervision. However, this system was not efficient or effective everywhere because some regions, especially the South, had no central traditional rulers. In the 1950s, before independence, Nigeria started to develop a more organized local government system. The first attempts to reform local government were made by the British colonial administration, which introduced local councils to manage communities. However, these councils still depended on the British for decisions and funding. One of the most important moments in the history of local government in Nigeria was in 1976, during the military government of General Olusegun Obasanjo. A major local government reform was introduced. This reform created a uniform system of local government across the country. It gave local governments clear responsibilities such as road maintenance, market regulation, and primary education, and allowed local governments to receive money directly from the federal government, making them more independent from state governments. It also established 301 local governments across Nigeria. This reform was important because it strengthened local government and made it a key part of Nigeria's governance. After the 1976 reform, the number of local governments kept increasing. In 1989, under General Ibrahim Babangida, the number of local governments increased to 500 and not 589, it was increased to 454. And then in 1991, another increase brought the number to 589 again as Nigeria created new states and local councils. In 1996, under General Sani Abacha, the number of local governments was increased to 774, which is the number that Nigeria has today. So if someone asks you, how many local governments do we have in Nigeria today? 774 local governments in all 36 states. I hope you remember that, even if you don't remember anything else. This expansion was done to bring government closer to the people and ensure that more communities had access to basic services. The history of local government in Nigeria is important because it shows how the country has worked to improve governance at the grassroots level. The 1976 reform made local government more independent, while the increases in 1989, 1991, and 1996 helped to ensure that more areas had direct government representation. Today, Nigeria has 774 local government areas, and each one plays a role in developing communities. Wow. That is a very beautiful history. So now you can understand why local governments exist, to enable the government to have an even more grassroots representation, so that people living in the remote areas and the grassroots region, they can have a representation of the government, so that they will know that the government has them in mind, right? So if they have anything to communicate on the federal level, they go through the local government, and Nigeria has 774 local governments as of today. Yay! All right, so that's for current affairs, and now for the word of the day. What word are you adding to your vocabulary this morning? What new word are you learning this morning? Guess what? Today's word is an adjective. And what does it mean? An adjective is a word that is used to qualify a noun. I hope you don't forget that. Adjectives are used to qualify a noun. And today's word of the day is spelled E-P-H-E-M-E-R-A-L. E-P-H-E-M-E-R-A-L. Ephemeral. 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 And what does this mean? Lasting for a very short time, fleeting or temporary. So when you are ephemeral, you know, this thing lasts for a very short time, fleeting or temporary. Synonyms are what you can use in place of ephemeral. We have transient, momentary, just for a moment, not permanent, transient, momentary, fleeting, short-lived. So these are synonyms for the word ephemeral, and antonyms, that's words opposite in meaning. We have permanent, enduring, lasting, eternal, perpetual. So when you hear ephemeral, you're thinking something short-lived. So opposite in meaning, something that even lasts more, lasts longer. Can even say permanent, yes, in place of enduring, lasting, eternal, perpetual. So examples, how to use ephemeral in a sentence. The joy of winning the lottery was ephemeral, fading as financial troubles returned. The joy of winning the lottery was ephemeral, fading as financial troubles return. So the joy of winning that lottery was temporary. It wasn't lasting because of financial troubles. Another example, cherry blossoms bloom beautifully but remain ephemeral, lasting only a few weeks. Cherry blossoms bloom beautifully but remain ephemeral, lasting only a few weeks. And then the last example, the morning mist was ephemeral, disappearing as the sun rose higher. The morning mist was ephemeral, disappearing as the sun rose higher. And as I always say, write this down in your book of, you see, our word of the day, you're learning new words every week, and I'm sure it's up to 20 something now. So add this to it, ephemeral, okay? That's our word of the day. And with that, we come to the end of the basic grammar and current affairs segment, and it's time for safety and social well-being, general well-being, whatever you want to call it. It is that time, which is the final segment of the show. And today, what am I talking about? Today, I am talking about bullying. I started it last week, but I wasn't really able to get into it because of time. Today, hopefully, I can cover more ground. So, what is bullying? I'm just going to go through that once again. Bullying is when someone hurts or makes fun of another person, either on purpose, usually on purpose actually, and usually over and over again. Yes, when someone makes fun of somebody on purpose or teases them on purpose, usually over and over again. So bullying is not a one-time thing. It happens over and over again all the time. Now, there are different types of bullying, right? There are different types of bullying. Number one, we have the physical bullying, when you're hitting people, pushing, taking their things. This happens especially in schools. You're hitting them, you're stoning them things, hitting them, taking their things, pushing them, maybe on the queue, and then you're pushing someone. Every time you see them on the queue, you push them on the assembly grounds, you're pushing yourself. That's bullying. When you do that all the time, even when you do it once, it is bullying. So that's physical bullying. Another type of bullying is verbal bullying, by your words. Name calling, teasing, saying hurtful things to make them feel bad, calling people ugly, telling them their clothes is not fine, telling them, oh, your food tastes horrible. That is bullying. You may think, oh, I didn't beat him, but you're bullying that person by your words. You're bullying them verbally. And then another type of bullying, social bullying, spreading rumors. Now, this goes to adults especially. Yes, you listening to me. Social bullying, spreading rumors, also in schools as well, excluding people from groups, or maybe you have a group of friends and then somebody wants to join you. Oh, you go away, you're not in our group. That can be a form of bullying as well, making people feel isolated, making them feel they are not a part of something. That can also be a type of bullying. And then the last type of bullying I will talk about this morning is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying, this is very rampant. This happens a lot through texting, social media, sending hurtful messages. You don't even know these people, and even if you do know them, there is absolutely no reason to send hurtful messages to people or say mean things about people. People say mean things about people, about celebrities, just because you're privy to one or two things about them. You start to concoct lies about them because you're trying to embarrass them. I don't know. Sometimes it also happens maybe for various reasons actually. And sometimes I know why people bully. Maybe they're just trying to make themselves feel better. When you're trying to make yourself feel better. So it goes to show that bullying says more about the person doing the bullying than the person receiving it. So when you find yourself in that kind of situation, how can you get out of it? Now, this goes to my babies. If in school somebody is bullying you, how do you handle it? The first thing is to stay calm. Try not to get angry, because the first thing a bully wants you to do is to react. Yes, anybody that is bullying you, they want you to react. They want to provoke a reaction from you. So try as much as you can to stay calm. If possible, ignore them. And I think it is even easier to ignore when it's verbal. If it's a verbal type of bullying, they're calling you ugly, they're saying bad things about you, easy to ignore them. But if it gets physical, then maybe you should walk away, or you report to an adult, to a grown-up, to your teacher, right? So stay calm, walk away. If you don't have to be there, then excuse yourself and leave. it is a group of friends, they don't want to play with you, leave, play by yourself, or find another friendlier group that you can play with. And stand up for yourself, be confident. If somebody is pushing you, stop it. Tell them to stop. Tell them, stop it. Stop pushing me. Because again, like I said, they are trying to provoke a reaction. And if you don't do anything, they are going to keep doing it. But the minute you stand up for yourself, they will stop. The moment they can see that, oh, this person, oh, this girl, this boy can do something about it, they are going to stop. Also, tell an adult. I mentioned it earlier. Tell a grown-up, tell your teacher, your parents, your trusted adult, your older brother or your older sister. Tell them, oh, somebody in school always, they will do something about it. They can talk to your teacher about it, or they can address the child. The teacher can then address the children, the kids, or your classmates that is involved in that act. And also stick with friends. Stick with the people that like you. Sometimes because we want to make friends, you stay with people and they will bully you, they'll trample on you, they'll step on your shoes, they'll tear your uniform, they'll take your pen, your pencil. But because you want to be their friend, you keep staying there. You don't have to be there. You can play by yourself or make friends with people that are more embracing, that are friendly. So stick with friends, and also try not to be always isolated. I know I said you can play by yourself, but sometimes when a bully sees you're alone, it's easy for them to come to you because they know that you are alone, you're all by yourself. So try not to be isolated all the time. If you find yourself in a difficult situation, or you see that, oh, this bully is coming towards you, try and stay with a group of friends. And also, you can always tell you, do this, do that. This goes to the bullies as well. Don't join them. If you find somebody bullying, or you see somebody bullying another person, don't join them and bully others. That is very, very wrong. That is bad. You're not a good ambassador if you're doing that. So you should stop. If you see somebody bullying anybody, in fact, you can stand in for that person. Tell them to stop. Stop touching her. Stop beating her. Stop taking his pen. Stop hitting him. I'm going to report you. These are things that you can do. You don't have to get physical. You don't have to get violent. These are things that you can do. If you cannot do it, then you can report to an adult. And this goes to bullies as well. Stop bullying other people if you want to make friends. So I know sometimes some kids do it because they are trying to make friends and they don't know how to express themselves. There are better ways to express yourselves to people, so you can learn how to communicate your emotions properly without bullying others or without picking on others. And then lastly, be proud of who you are. Somebody calls you ugly doesn't mean you're ugly. No, you're beautiful. If somebody is picking on you, oh, your uniform is too long, oh, this your uniform color is not the same as my own, my pencil is too short, you're this. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself. Sometimes they say all those things and it's not even true. So don't let the words of bullies get to you. Okay, bullying says more about the person than you. It says more about the person. It's a reflection of the person's values. It means the person has no value. That is why they are picking on you, trying to provoke a reaction. So don't think somebody is saying things, hurtful things, meaningless things, embarrassing things about you online. That doesn't mean it's true. Sometimes it can be a projection of how they want you to feel. Doesn't necessarily mean that that is who or that is what you are. So you're special and you deserve to be treated with respect. And this goes to everyone out there as well. Treat others with respect. It doesn't hurt to be kind. Be kind to other people. Treat them with kindness, respect, and love. And that is where I'm drawing the curtain on today's show. Last week, we had no winner for our riddle. So I'll just quickly drop this. You have a chance to win data gift courtesy of Veracious Pay. Today's riddle is: what starts with an E, ends with an E, but has only one letter? What starts with an E, ends with an E, but has only one letter? You can drop your answer in the comment section of our Facebook page at Radio Afinju. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, X, all social media platforms. We are there. And also you can listen to all of our other shows on our website at www.afinju.com.